Welcome to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We bring you the facts from the perspective of two average, everyday guys who will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. And now, here's Dale and Jim.
Welcome, everybody. Two Guys, One Coup, episode 32. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing very well. How about you, Dale?
I'm doing good, thank you. If you're watching this episode, it's not on YouTube. That's right, folks. That's right, folks. We've hit the big time. We are now on a 14-day ban from YouTube. For a video, it was episode 9, so we're on 32. So it kind of gives you an idea how long ago that was that they went back in the annals of Two Guys, One Coup to nail us. And
which kind of leads us to believe that somebody turned us in.
Probably, you know, well, yeah, or their little algorithm picked up something that maybe you said, and it was probably, you know, something that happened there.
The other shows we did about it were off immediately.
I
mean, they were off immediately, where this one, it was out there a long time. I think somebody turned us in. So whatever.
Yeah, we probably don't have to tell you what it is because we kind of, well, you're not seeing this episode anyways on YouTube, but it's election integrity is what it was. So you're gonna see this on Rumble and of course hear it on all the other platforms where you hear podcasts. But nope, 2 weeks off, so that means 4 episodes of Two Guys, One Coup will not be on YouTube. If Jim and I peeled it again, and you'll be shocked at what the response was. Appeal denied. And I'll tell you why. They gave us a good reason. They said, we're trying to help you avoid a third strike. So we're going to ban you for 14 days. So you don't, basically say anything that would get you a third strike, which is the permanent ban. So it's so nice of YouTube to do that and to help us out. I really felt like I felt the love when I read that.
Yet the voting integrity from 2016 election's still out there.
Well,
you can go find it all you want.
That may have been discussed in my appeal, which is simply something I type up because you can't call or talk to any human being anywhere on any social media platform. That's just the way they designed it. Doesn't it seem fair?
Yeah.
At any rate, so I typed that up and put it in there. They really, really took, I think, at least the time to review it because within a minute it was denied. So... assholes, I'm telling you. Oh, it's just assholes. Anyway, so unfortunately, we're gaining some traction on YouTube, and we got
that's what sucks about it. We
a little more exposure, and now we're becoming one of those. Hey, we talked to our good friend Mark at the Conservitude, and he's congratulated us on reaching the big time. That was really nice of him.
In a response from one of our interviews with Paige from Moms for Liberty, somebody called us a dickweed.
Called us dickweeds, you and I.
And they called us both dickweeds, and I don't think I've heard that term since high school.
I
didn't know it was still a thing.
I was just like, gnarly dude, or dickweeds, bro.
I got news for him. I've been called a hell of a lot worse by a lot better people. So yeah.
When I saw dickweed, I'm like, whoa, bro. Felt like Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
See, this is what conservatives do when we get insulted.
Yeah,
we laugh about it. We don't cry. We don't go to the mommy and daddy of the YouTube and Facebook. They're being mean. This isn't nice. We all just have to love each other. Those conservatives are such assholes. But that's okay. Right, because they can insult us all they want, but we can't insult them. Yeah,
it is what it is. The old double standard, and YouTube falls right in line with the rest of the asshole social media platforms and everything else. But good news, Rumble hasn't taken down a single episode of Two Guys, One Coup, and they won't. And
I guess unless we go like off the.
I mean, really
off the reservation, maybe.
Yeah, we really go off the deep end.
But wait, I said reservation. Is that wrong? Uh-oh.
We're Thanks for listening, everybody. It was fun while it lasted. This little
Jim
run
did
of
it
ours.
again.
Jim did it again. He just can't shut up. So,
Oops, I
yeah.
did
But
it
anyway,
again.
but that alone should get us removed. The folks, so you're gonna have to watch the next 4 on if you want to see our beautiful faces, and why wouldn't you? You're gonna have to watch it on Rumble. Unfortunately, not unfortunately. Rumble's great. I wish more
Rumble's
people
great,
would.
yeah.
I honestly wish more people would. It's exactly like YouTube, except conservatives are allowed on it. So
And
go
we'll
ahead and
explain this.
download the app, on your phone or wherever, and it's
we'll explain it on Facebook when we repost and everything.
Yes.
When we share, when you do the links and we share it, I'll put in there, hey, you're not going to see us on YouTube. Please go to Rumble or Spotify and Apple.
Yep. And we'll and in in 2 weeks, which is 4 or 5 episodes now from now, I'll repost on YouTube. But honestly, we could be removed from YouTube at any minute. It doesn't. Who knows when it's going to happen?
Yeah, because we have others.
We have others. So our third strike. The whole thing about it is it's supposedly 3 strikes within 90 days. All right, because this is technically our third video that they've removed along the same subject line. And but we're 2 within 90 days. So if we get a third one, which is why because they drop off. Okay. So they roll over. And so technically that's why they gave us a 2-week ban to help us out, to get closer to that 90 days without getting that third
to
strike.
Try and get us to comply with them.
Behave, right?
We are so happy. Biden is so good. This is Putin's fault. All of this stuff going wrong. Let's listen to Whoopi Goldberg. She knows everything. Sorry. Lost it there for a minute.
Yeah, you did lose it there for a minute. Folks, more good news, though. Truly good news. You get to hear part 3 of our interview with Paige Miller from Hamilton County, Indiana's Moms for Liberty chapter. Hope you've listened to the last 2 shows, watched or listened. If you haven't, I don't know what the hell you're doing, because this is information you're going to want to know. And it's whether you have children or don't have children, or you have grandchildren, or anybody in school or not in school, if you care about the future of our country, it begins with the youth and the indoctrination that's going on. And Jim and I, we have more stories today to tell about this prior to our part 3 of the interview. But again, thank you, Paige. Again, she's been she continues to be a friend to both of us. So we really do appreciate it. As well as other chapters of the Moms for Liberty that we're getting to know a little bit better. So I don't know. It's a phenomenal group. And so you'll get to hear part 3 of that interview. I want to, before we even get into our first segment, just kind of briefly go over some of the school shooting in Texas, Uvalde, Texas. Again, we've spent the last couple episodes talking about it. Episode 31, we kind of briefly went over at the time some things we had heard about the police response and all that. Turns out that was all true. So it really does.
And before everybody jumps the gun here,
yes,
this is not everybody's police force. So we don't want to jump on the bandwagon and say, "Oh, all the policemen are scared; they're cowards." There was one in particular on Facebook that posted, "Oh, they can shoot an unarmed pregnant woman, but they're afraid to go in when somebody has a gun shooting at them," and it's just inappropriate. That's not true.
I don't know who posted that, but that's misinformation, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's just we don't. They're not perfect, folks. Police officers are human beings. They're held under a hell of a lot different microscope than anyone else.
Agreed.
And this was a mistake. Let's fix it.
I hate the word mistake when it comes to 19 children who died.
But you're
right. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. It's almost shocking to me that. It's just shocking to me how how this all occurred anyways. But here's the point again.
Yeah.
Yes, the police were terrible response time. The border patrol agent who was off duty, that heard that there's a school shooting at the school where his wife works and his daughter goes to, grabbed his he was getting his hair cut, grabbed the rifle from the barber, ran into the school where he said he saw no police. That's what he said in the school. You know, we've heard stories about there were 19 of them in the hallway. There were, and who knows? This guy confronted the shooter, killed him, perhaps saving a lot more lives, because this asshole was armed to the gills. He was ready. I got one question before I even start. This kid, 18-year-old kid. I say 18-year-old kid. He's an adult. 18-year-old had, I would say, in doing some research on it and history on it, that he probably had $8 to $9 grand worth of firearms, ammo, and tactical equipment.
Yeah.
The kid was driving a $70,000 pickup truck. He's the son of a single mom. Where do you get all that? How do you get all that? Can you even speculate? I can't even speculate other than it's given to him. Stolen? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and
you can't buy it. Can't afford that. You can't afford that. I can't afford that. You know,
as much as liberals want to demonize what happened, the demon, the monster, and all of this is the kid that did it.
It's the kid that did it.
That's who the bad guy is.
And that's my point to what I'm saying.
You can sit there and badmouth police officers all you want. Fine, whatever. You're going to do it anyway. But that's not what did it.
That's not what
it was the person who made the decision to go, and it wasn't the gun. The gun didn't float into the school and shoot. Somebody carried it in.
That's not funny, but yeah.
So
you're right, and that's the point to my. That's Jim. That's really to the point. I'm not shutting you up, but shut up, because that's kind of to the point I'm getting at here. Is that the signs were there? Multiple signs, multiple things with this disturbed human being. I'm going to read some information here on it. The video. So there was a video that emerged. I say emerged. It was out there. It was out there before this even happened. It has nothing to do with the shooting itself, but it does have to do with the asshole who committed the crime. But shows the 18-year-old smiling while holding up a bag. The video footage obtained by the New York Post was so graphic that the publication had to blur out the bag. Inside the bag were dead cats that he had killed.
Yeah.
Okay. He did this on numerous occasions, would kill and torture cats, laugh about it. He wasn't bullied at school. The story that's coming out is we heard that he was bullied. The story that's coming out is that he was the bully.
Right.
And when people didn't react like he wanted to is when he would freak out. So anyways, David Trevino Jr., who is related to the shooter's grandmother by marriage, told the New York Post that the attacker was known for harming animals. The shooter was known for hurting cats, he said. He liked hurting animals. I'm told he killed cats and carried around the bag of bodies for shits and giggles, is what it says. The video shows he was not right in the head. He continued, he's not all there. The video raises all sorts of red flags. Hurting animals in Texas is a felony like it is almost anywhere else. But here's another quote. He would go to the park and try to pick on people, and he loved hurting animals. One of the attacker's high school classmates said in an interview, I remember there was one time we saw him beating a little dog senseless. A second classmate made similar claims, saying that the attacker would hurt animals and that he was not a good person. The attacker, in quote, was a boy who was not bullied. He said he would try to pick on people and fail, and it would aggravate him. A lot of people who knew him, we knew he wasn't mentally healthy, he added. And a lot of people could agree that we probably should have said something. And that's the key. And that's what I think we have to go back to in this world is people, and we've talked about it before, Jim, people are afraid to say something at risk of being accusatory, racist, sexist, homophobic, whatever you're being called these days, which is everything under the sun. You gotta, I can't imagine seeing stuff like this online and not report. And who's to say none of it wasn't reported and something, nothing came of it? I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, that's who the attacker was, guys.
Anybody who's into serial killers.
It's not the gun. Go on.
Anyone who's into serial killers, what's one of the other signs?
They kill animals, torture and kill animals. Every single one of them.
Yep.
Every single one of them.
And you can't tell me there's not a person out here that doesn't know that now.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that. So
that's a clear sign. Everybody knows it.
Yeah. So even this guy was bad from the beginning. Yeah, like you said, and very well put, by the way. As usual, you're just so professional. It's just awesome.
Jim, I can't. The compliments are just, keep them coming.
Yeah, they are. I mean, you're phenomenal. I don't even know why I'm here half the time.
I don't either. But go on. Your turn.
But the point of the matter is that there was signs, and we just saw that 10-year-old who made posts and comments about it, and he was stopped. So
he was stopped. That's right.
The system works. We just got to let it work. But, instead of taking guns away from 99.9% of the proper ownership of people who have it, right? The ones who aren't going to do bad.
Correct.
Let's think about arming the schools. Let's think about it. I mean, let the kids carry guns. Sorry, not really. I'm just joking, by the way. Just if teachers want to carry, let them carry. Or pay for security. Maybe you don't need that extra. Maybe you don't need that extra administrator at your school system.
Maybe not.
And maybe use some of that money to go towards helping and protecting the school.
Or maybe other countries don't need that money. We can focus on the safety of our schools in this country.
That does help. Yeah.
But so I got in a little tiff with some whack job bedwetting liberal on TikTok. I don't know why I put myself in these positions, but I don't comment on a lot of them, but every now and then somebody we promised that money to Ukraine. Well, good. I'm so glad we promised the money to Ukraine. So we gave it to them instead of spending it where it's needed, protecting our own freaking country and our citizens and our children. Good for you, liberal. Anyways, dang, Jim, I just get pissed off all the time.
Well, it's not hard
easily
to do.
Pissed off.
It's really not.
Jim, we got a lot to get through.
Yep.
Including again, part 3 of our interview with Paige Miller. So, Jim, let's get on to our first segment of the day. What do you say? You're up.
Let's do it. Okay, I have a couple quick things, and
by the way, Jim, you're getting really good at that pause.
Thank you.
So you're the best. Go on.
So when you get yelled at and reprimanded so many times, you tend to learn.
You make me sound like an ogre.
I'm not a liberal. I learn when I make mistakes. But it's not somebody else's fault either. I should blame that. I should figure out. Yeah. Anyway. So as we know, the economy is the fault of COVID-19 and the Russian war with Ukraine.
Correct.
Which is
That's
bullshit.
What we're told.
It's bullshit and farce. But anyway, the United States Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen.
She's great.
Now, you heard the title, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard the title. I don't know if everybody's heard this.
On Tuesday, she said she was wrong about the path inflation would take following months of public statements over its perceived threat.
Wow.
You heard the title, right?
Yeah,
nothing should surprise the United States Treasury Secretary. Nothing should surprise them.
Nothing.
But
person's in a position to not be surprised.
But it's typical. This is his administration. They're all idiots. I'm sorry.
They're every one of them idiots.
I think I was wrong. I think I was wrong then about the path that inflation would take. She said during a CNN interview, so we know it was spot on journalism.
It was.
As I mentioned, there have been unanticipated and large shocks to the economy that have boosted energy and food prices. Yeah, the election of 2020. and supply bottlenecks that have affected our economy badly that I didn't at the time fully understand. Now, my comment about the 2020 election, I did not say anything about how it was. I just said because of that election,
Jim,
this is why we're at. So anyway.
Jim, this episode's not on YouTube. Who cares?
Oh, that's true. All right, but here again, she cited COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian invasion of Ukraine has added weight to the end. Yeah. Can you explain how we in 2020 was energy independent? Energy independent. We didn't need gas prices were fine. Food was coming in fine. Everything else.
Yeah.
But because Putin decides to invade Ukraine, the United States of America is affected by it.
Yep. That's right.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because this is starting to get funny. And what's funny is all the people that are defending it. The Whoopi Goldbergs, everybody on The View. It's always, anytime they talk about this stuff, they always blame it on something other than this administration.
Everything. The View hasn't blamed a damn thing on this administration. Of course, why do we bring them up? Why do we... Why are they relevant? God.
Well, because she thinks...
listening to that.
Well, because Whoopi Goldberg, if you listen to her, it solves all the problems.
Oh, she sure does.
I mean, she's just so wonderful. Her and Joy Behar. I don't know why they're not senators. Anyway.
Of all the people we lost due to COVID.
Yeah. When we actually find out that we probably didn't lose that many. But now the only other thing I'm going to add to this story is in March, Yellen appeared to contradict the White House when she said she was expecting another year full of uncomfortably high inflation.
Another year. So basically she said this in March.
Yeah.
So basically she's got till next March before she has to answer any other questions.
These people.
Way to go, Nancy Pelosi. You're our own Nancy Pelosi tearing up the State of the Union.
This is getting dumb. Okay.
Yeah.
So my last little...
Wait. If can I jump onto something here real quick?
Nobody cares what you think, Dale.
It's the Biden. First of all, she's got a year before she's got to answer this again. All right, asshole. And then that was for you. And are you going on, before you go on, are you going on to another story that has to do with the administration? Okay, then I'll jump onto that afterwards.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, this is how we show prep, guys.
That's exactly right. We try. Okay, so I
thought we had this figured out.
The title of this, Americans Flee Blue Cities for Red States During Pandemic, a report indicates. I'm sorry, I got news for them. It wasn't just the pandemic that caused them to leave.
No.
Georgetown, Texas was the fastest rate of growth during that time span, expanding by 10.5%.
Wow.
Yes, a rate Axios noted would double the size of the community in less than 7 years.
Jesus God.
And additional...
Should have bought property there.
And in additional two Texas cities, Leander, Texas, 10.1%, and New Braunfels, 8.3%.
Where are these places?
Well, my guess is they're on the border of California, is my guess.
Wait a second. You think Texas is on the border of
California? Oh, no. Sorry, Arizona. Well, anyway, you're right.
Maybe New Mexico.
I messed up.
I mean, we're going to get there eventually. Just name all 50 states. You'll make it.
What I meant to say, I'm sorry, is they were close to where they're coming from California. That's what's going on. And maybe Arizona, I don't know, but from what I understand, why leave Arizona?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so whatever, it's
our next geography lesson.
Yeah, I had, the letter 4. Yeah. Okay.
Jim, one mistake.
And I made one too.
In 32 episodes. I'm never going to hear the end of it. Go on.
So they saw the second and fifth highest rate of migration, respectively. Now, two Arizona cities, Queen Creek Town, 8.9%, and Buckeye, 8.6%, round out the top 5. That's next to
California,
yes.
by the way.
Okay, but everything is coming from California. Okay, whether it's on the damn border or not, all right?
Did you say Buckeye, Arizona?
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
What?
So,
holy crap.
All right.
Okay.
So the top 15 cities by rate of population growth, between July 1st of 2020 and July 1st of 2021. You got me all flustered.
This is a rough show.
We're concentrated in red states such as Texas, Florida, Arizona, Tennessee, and Idaho.
Oh, is Arizona a red state? Didn't it go towards Biden?
Yeah, it kind of switches back and forth. But, stop it. Stop it. We're not talking about that. So, all right, the growth that comes now. Basically, what they're saying is New York City seeing a population decrease of 3.5% during the time span. They lost 305,000 people. Yeah. All right, the city I live in has 215.
That's more than the entire city. That they just said
110,000 more than the entire city. And
God dang, that's crazy.
So the nation's most populous city that was not only urban, where the population shrank considerably, was San Jose, California at minus 2.7%, Chicago at minus 1.6%, Philadelphia minus 1.5%, Dallas at minus 1.1%, and Los Angeles minus 1%. Now, I'm just going to add one real quick thing to this thing. Pandemic did have something to do with it. All right. They were leaving before the pandemic because of what is going on in those states.
Democrat leadership. Leadership.
Yes. And what we need to also understand is if you're going to do that, leave your liberal views where you were at that caused your problems to begin with, and don't create it somewhere else. Right.
And I think another thing we have to bring up, Jim, is the fact that, yes, those percentages and the amount of people that are leaving, those are the ones that can afford to leave.
Yes, exactly.
There's way more that they don't have the funds to be able to just pick up and go anywhere. So they're stuck living in those hellholes.
Do you think those cities are going to lower their spending?
Well, of course they are.
Oh, no, they're not. They're going to increase it, which means those people that can least afford it are going to be paying even higher taxes. Anyway, that's how taxes work, liberals. For all you people in San Francisco, when if you're still Speaker of the House's husband is not getting pulled over because he's not smart enough to order a freaking Uber or Lyft. Idiot. Anyway,
he's 82 or something, right?
Cities in Tennessee and Florida were also part of the group that saw rapid expansion during the pandemic. Okay. Fort Myers, Florida went up by 6.8%. Way to go, Fort Myers.
Way to go,
Casa Grande, Arizona, 6.2. Maricopa, Arizona, 6.1.
Yep.
Northport, Florida, 5.5%. Spring Hill, Tennessee, 5.4%.
Oh.
Goodyear, Arizona, both our teams.
Both our teams are there. I'll move there. Yep.
5.4%. Port St. Lucie, is it Lucie or Lucci? 5.2%. And then, of course, the final one is 3 suburbs of Boise, Idaho, round out the top 15 with Meriden at 5.2%, Caldwell 5.2%, and Nampa at 5%. So they're leaving blue states, going to red states. They're going to the red states that have very low taxes, and more times than not have very good governors, and good leadership.
Yep. Okay. That's where they're going.
So
that's where they're going. It's obvious.
Yeah. So for all you people that are moving, good for you. But understand why you're moving. You don't want the higher tax. You didn't want the ridiculous requirements they were putting on you for pandemic. So you're going to move to another state that is free. All right. And you want to start changing that. So let's not do that.
Yeah, let's not do that
anyway,
at all.
But that's just another example of the wonderful, wonderful left in their thinking. So folks, Los Angeles and New York, that's what they want the country to be.
Oh, of course.
Just understand that. When they talk about socialism, that's what they want. What is going on in these liberal, in Chicago, you can throw in Chicago. So, and how well are these cities doing? Look at it. Just watch, pay attention, and this is not what we want. This is not what we need. Look, I would love to have everything that I want done, but I'm also have common sense knowing that it won't. However,
correct.
We need to come together. We need to come together and figure this stuff out, figure what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. Correct. But right now, we would rather, instead of teaching our kids to read and write, we would rather teach our kids, Johnny is now Susie. And here's how it happened. Anyway. So. Okay, I'm done.
Jim, I was going to get into really a brief story about the mass exodus of black staffers in the Biden regime.
That's not possible.
Well, but you went a little long-winded on yours, so I'm gonna.
No, I want to hear this. I want to hear it. No.
Well, for God's sakes, Jim, I'm gonna go real quick then. Black people don't like Joe. You heard it here first.
Whoopie
does. The news. At least 21. I said black people. At least 21 black staffers have departed the White House since late 2021. Do you realize that's like 6 months? Basically 6 or 7 months. Like 21 black staffers, according to a new report. Staffers who have left the Biden administration say poor workplace culture is largely to blame. Now, this is a story from Politico. Now, they are not right-wingy. You know what I mean? Not at all. According to 9 current and former black White House staffers, I don't think they're former black. I think they're just former White House staffers, but I think they're still black. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. You can identify what you want to be, I guess. But they are hamstrung by a work environment where they're excluded from making decisions and denied opportunities for advancement. That seems highly racist to me, which it can't be Joe, right? Joe is, because Joe is, if you ain't black, then you ain't voting for me. You know what I mean? That's Joe. The one who didn't want his kids going to schools with black kids. That's Joe, right?
Yeah, that guy that actually said it.
That guy that actually said it. So I got a little, hopefully, Kareem, if you're listening, this is Joe. Okay. Just so you know, we're here and we're doing a lot of work, but we're not decision makers. And there's no real path towards becoming decision makers. One anonymous official said, these people got to stop being anonymous. Just come the hell out.
Please.
Isn't this a crazy world where you can come out as gay, but you can't come out when you're telling the truth? Is this a crazy world? There is, and I'm fine. You come out, but everybody come out.
A gay transgender whistleblower. They'd be president of the country next year.
Oh God, wouldn't they? There is no real feedback and there's no clear path to any kind for promotions. The officials who spoke about the situation described a culture of elitism and cliques at the highest level of the administration staff. We know this is happening. People are leaving. It goes on. I'm going to stop there. We know this is happening. A lot of it's happening. A bunch of them have left, Kamala Harris's little circle, which I had a story about her. I can't even talk about her.
Who wants to?
She's borderline retarded.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Is that a bad thing? Here, real quick. Okay, I'll just get into this. Just between you and I, Jim. Nobody else can hear this.
Yeah, everybody else tune out for just a little bit.
A reporter, she's over in Poland, right? With the president of Poland, his name is probably Pulaski or something. I have no idea what his name is. Anyways, a reporter, I said, was talking to her and asked her a question directly reflected towards how much longer are Americans really going to have to endure high inflation? How much more can you expect from them? Her answer was, myself and the Polish president, we've talked about the alliance and we've talked about coming together to make sure that Ukraine is well protected. That was her answer to the inflation question.
Well, because it's Putin and Ukraine's fault.
She mentioned nothing about inflation, high prices, Americans. No, she didn't giggle because she was stumbling. She was struggling on this one. She couldn't even. Anyways,
they don't have answers, guys. Guys, they do not have answers. They want to blame Republicans for not working with them. See, they want Republicans to sign on to these bills so they can blame the Republican when things go wrong. It's no different than when the Unaffordable Care Act was passed under Obama. They wanted
Obama,
Republicans on there, so when it failed, they could also blame Republicans.
Well, now bipartisan support.
Yeah.
You know.
So, but that's what the typical thing is. They don't know. They do not know how to fix it, because you've got people like Yellen, who is in a position of leadership in this country, who underestimated the inflation when indicators, you and I saw this coming.
I was not surprised. She was.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, very good point. It's just she's an idiot. She's an embarrassment, and right now we are a laughing
like the whole
stock.
administration. Like the whole administration is. We're a laughing stock, but we're feeling it. It's hurting people.
Yeah,
it is hurting people on a daily basis. I mean, $80 to fill up my little tiny SUV, right?
Yep.
$80. I mean, ridiculous. Come on. And now Joe thinks a 9mm bullet can blow a lung out of your body. Anyways, different story. We'll get into the whole 2A stuff at another show. But Jim, let's go on to what will be, our final segment, basically, before the interview. All right. Well, in light of part 3 of our interview with Paige Miller of Moms for Liberty coming up, we have some school stories, some additional school stories to talk about, and things that are going on in the schools. I'm going to start with this one. Jim, are you sitting down?
I think so.
Cops probe after middle school librarian allegedly says students are sex workers to justify pro-prostitution book. Police in Northern Virginia are investigating after a middle school librarian allegedly, when they say Northern Virginia, I'm going to guess somewhere around DC, outside of DC. After a middle school librarian allegedly defended a pro-prostitution book by saying it belonged in the library because many of the school's 11 to 13-year-old students are sex workers. A shocked Loudoun County teacher went to the police after the librarian Stephanie Guido sounds so stereotypical, but it's Guido. How would you say that name, Jim?
It sounds like a mob thing, man.
That's what I'm saying. Old Guido here is going to be swimming with the fishies. Allegedly made the comment to her. The teacher had asked Guido about a book a parent had flagged on Twitter called Seeing a Person. Well, see, what? Did I put this in order? It didn't.
Professionalism as it's best.
Fucking fine, son of a bitch. I don't know what that book title is. A person may. The Daily Wire is reporting the name of the that's where the story came from, of the teacher who reported this. But anyways, in quotes, it says a person may exchange sex or sexual activity for things they need or want, such as food, housing, hormones, drugs, gifts, or other resources, reads one shocking passage in this book. Again, more. Prostitution is a job like being a store clerk, an architect, or a freelance writer. We all, unfortunately, have to do work to make a living. Some of us hate our jobs, and some of us love them. The same goes for those who do sex work. Sadly, sex work is generally misunderstood, the book says. It's for 11. I can't. I don't want to laugh. But I can't. This is for 11 to 13-year-olds.
And this was a librarian.
A librarian in a Northern Virginia school system who was fighting to have this book remain in there. The Sterling Middle School teacher went to the school library after seeing the unidentified parents tweet about the book to find out if it was actually available to students. Guido retrieved the book and defended it. The teacher told police in a recorded conversation reviewed by the Daily Wire. In the interview with police, the teacher recounted her discussion with Guido. Quote, she started talking about how there's kids who come to the library who do sex work, and this makes them feel validated. the teacher told police. As a teacher, if you get an individual student coming to you because you're abused, you have to go to the police immediately. The teacher said Guido did not name specific students except one who had passed through the school about 6 years ago. Jim, sex work is what sex work is. It's the oldest profession in the world, right? Isn't that what it said? This is for 11 and 13-year-olds and stating that they could trade sex for gifts, drugs. Isn't that called a wife? I'm just kidding. It's a joke. That was a joke. It was a joke. People, I make jokes. That's what I do. I'm the Ricky Gervais of podcasting. I make jokes. Guy, don't.
Oh my God. 8 mil.
Oh God. Oh God. Moms for Liberty, please.
And all you men that can get pregnant, we're sorry too.
That's right. It's no laughing matter. This shit's going on in school.
No, I'm sorry. It is becoming a laughing matter. It is.
Oh, I mean, it's beyond ridiculous.
Because you think that it can't go any worse. Oh, but they let,
worse. Briefly, 2 more. This one, a Libs of TikTok Twitter thread. Now, I don't know if you've seen Libs of TikTok. They're phenomenal. Libs of TikTok is actually opposite of libs. They are calling out all the liberal hypocrisy and all this other stuff on there. But anyways, Libs of, if you haven't looked them up, look them up. It's great. A Libs of TikTok Twitter thread documenting the many examples of drag events targeting kids. The person behind the Twitter account Libs of TikTok became popular largely because of how she spread awareness of leftists promoting a progressive agenda in schools. That's how they actually started. So scrolling through her feed yields dozens of threads about drag events in schools. The first video showed a clip from a drag show titled, and I quote, "A gay nightclub in Minnesota," end quote, held a drag show for children earlier this month. One of the performers said in an interview, "I want to give the kids an opportunity to see what drag queen king life is like on a day-to-day basis." Now, I learned something in this brief, short article. I didn't know there were drag kings. But anyways, one venue promoted an event called Drag the Kids to Pride. So in honor of Pride Month starting, Jim, this fits right in. By the way, it is Pride Month.
I know.
I'm shocked you're not flying your rainbow flag, Jim. It's not right.
It melted in the rain.
A bar in Dallas, Texas is advertising a drag show for children, including the opportunity for some kids to perform with a drag queen on stage.
I'm sorry.
Remember when we used to go to the zoo when we were in school? And the art and the history museum and the planetarium. You get to go to a drag show now. It's phenomenal. Our schools, man. All the more reason to pull the kids.
Was happening?
Man, I'm telling you. Well, okay. I don't know what section it is, but it could be one of those informed consent situations on field trip things, right? So anyways, there were multiple examples of drag queen story hours, including events for preschool age children. We've talked about that in the past. One of these library events in Vermont had a flyer that confirmed the story hour was, in quote, for all ages with stories focused on gender. She also posted a video of children performing at DragCon. Jim, another convention for you to go to, DragCon. Saying children and drag queens danced for adults, with some kids even collecting money on the stage at a drag convention this month. I can't believe this is happening. Like, I am living a sheltered life because without stories like this, I would have no idea this is going on. And I think most people don't even realize it. Yeah. And we're busy and we go through our day-to-day lives, and all the while they're just absolutely tormenting our children and indoctrinating them into, I don't care. I don't care if you're a drag queen.
No.
I don't care apparently now if you're a drag king. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're trans.
Don't care. Don't give a damn.
Don't care if you're non-binary. I don't care if anybody even knows what the hell non-binary means. I don't care. Leave the children alone.
Yes.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave them alone. Let them be who they're going to be. If you're born that way, you're going to end up that way, right? That's the argument. I got one last real quick thing to talk about here, and this was given to us by Paige Miller.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So thank you for sending this, but it has to do with the basically around Cook County, Illinois, which is the Chicago area, if I'm not wrong. Is that right,
Yep.
Jim? You know more
Yep.
about that area than I do. Oak Park and River Forest High School administrators will require teachers next school year to adjust their classroom's grading scales to account for the skin color or ethnicity of its students. Jim, you and I briefly talked about this off air because it was kind of shocking, to be honest with you. School board members discussed a plan called Transformative Education, Professional Development, and Grading at a meeting on May 26, presented by Assistant Superintendent for Student Learning, Lori Florenza. I said that name right, Jim? Mm-hmm. In an effort to equalize test scores among racial groups, Oak Park and River Forest will order its teachers to exclude from their grading assessments variables it says disproportionately hurt the grades of Black students. They can no longer be docked for missing class, misbehaving in school, or failing to turn in their assignments according to this plan. Before I go on, Jim, you want to add anything to this, or do you want to? I've got more. I just didn't know if you had a thought process. You're looking there all stoic and silent.
I'm just...
It calls what OPRF, so Oak Park River Forest leaders describe as competency-based grading, eliminating zeros from the grade book, encouraging and rewarding growth over time.
Everybody gets a sticker. That's what that means. Sorry.
Well, that's what that means. Mm-hmm. Everybody. I mean, well, I wouldn't say everybody.
No.
I mean,
white people and Asians. White people and Asians won't get stickers.
Won't get stickers. No stickers for.
And that's not a joke, guys. Read the article.
That's not a joke. That's not a joke.
Hispanics and the Black students are going to be walking out with stickers all over their bodies.
According to the Illinois State Board of Education, 38% of Oak Park River Forest sophomore students taking the Scholastic Aptitude Test failed. So the SAT.
38%.
For the 38%. The OPRF failure rate was 77% for Black students, 49% for Hispanics, 27% for Asians, and 25% for whites. Now there's some in the middle. If you want to add to that, you can, but I'm reading this. School districts across the U.S. are experimenting with getting rid of 0 to 100 point scales and other strategies to keep missed assignments from dramatically bringing down overall grades, according to a March Associated Press report. Others are allowing students to retake tests and turn work in late. Also coming under scrutiny are extra credit assignments that can favor students with more advantages. Jim, add to this story.
Look,
if you want.
No, I do want to add. I want to be careful because I know I'm probably going to be considered not very sensitive when I say this, but so basically, because we have 77% Black and 49% failure, Hispanic failed the SAT. Mm-hmm. Yep. So the way to fix this is to, I'm sorry, if Black people need to take and Hispanics need to take offense to this.
Yeah.
Because basically they're saying you can't fix it with education in the school. We've got to change the way we grade. You're not
smart enough.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We got to change the way we grade to make you look smart. You're not learning anything different, guys. You're still okay. You can keep taking tests and keep taking quizzes, but seriously, guys. And besides, even if you change the grades, even if you didn't grade from 0 to 100, even if you did, and then and the one person goes from an F to an A because of the new grading scale, do you honestly think they're going to pass that SAT?
Yeah, no.
No.
You know?
No, you're not going to pass the SAT because the school is not set up to go towards the SAT. What's on the SAT?
No.
The school is set up to teaching you who John and Susie are. They don't give a shit.
Right.
They don't give a shit about math or English. They don't care.
And it doesn't matter. They could change their grading. The SAT is not changing their grading scale. So no matter how they approach this, we're taking away the grading system.
See, this is insulting. I mean, if I was a black person or Hispanic, I would be insulted by this because they're dumbing it down, people. They're dumbing it down.
So their school system looks better. Exactly. That's why they're doing it. It has nothing to do with helping a student.
Look,
it has everything to do with their scores and how their school is looked at.
I am all for helping black people and Hispanics get their grades up, no matter what school system you're in. I'm all for it by either
helping children
extra credit
get their grades up,
or having paying maybe some old ex-teachers to come in and do tutoring and stuff like that. I have absolutely no. If my tax money went to that, I would be tickled pink because it's helping them. It's getting them up. But they're basically saying, guys, and I know they're going to come back and say that that's not what they're saying. Everything is because how many times do we have to hear it? Everything is set up against black people in the education
systemically
system.
Racist system.
Instead, you guys have to stand up to this because they are basically saying that if we continue to go the way we're going, you guys aren't going to be able to learn.
Correct.
I don't buy that for a minute. I don't believe it. But guys, they're black people, Hispanic. This is what they're doing. They're making you feel inferior. So they're going to change the way they do things to make you feel better about yourself. You're not going to know anything more. You're not going to be a smarter person.
Nope.
And
you're going to get through their school system though, and that's all they care about. You're going to get in, get out. You're going to have higher numbers because they're going to change all that. Their school's going to look better, and you're going to be dumb or dumber than you were before you entered that school.
And look, I'm trying not to, we make jokes about it, but this is a serious thing, guys.
It's serious.
If 77% of the 38% that failed, okay, now keep in mind, that's 77% for black students of the 38 that failed. Okay.
Correct.
So there's a number of black students that passed.
Yep.
So maybe we should look at how did they succeed.
Correct.
And the other ones didn't.
Correct.
Maybe we need to look at that. Okay. It's a home. Their home life is better. Okay.
Then maybe that's where you try to focus.
Yeah. Maybe we need to do that.
Or maybe they stay after school and go to the library and study.
Yep.
Well, maybe that's where your focus goes.
Yep.
No, it's always this. It's the lazy approach to make them look better, make the school system look better. And it is insulting. It's insulting. Jim, we have to get on with this because you just won't stop talking today. That's not true.
I hardly said anything. Anyways.
Oh my gosh, Jim, take it easy, bro. We're gonna get to Paige Miller, part 3 of that interview. Please, literally share all of this.
I'm a huge Moms for Liberty fan.
Oh my God, you don't even know.
Sorry, I'm a huge Moms for Liberty fun. I'm in the fun
club. Get it if you haven't heard it yet. You'll all get it. But anyways, here's part 3 of our interview with Paige Miller from Hamilton County, Indiana's branch of Moms for Liberty. We will be back after that to wrap this up.
Is it the teacher's job or the instructional assistant's job to let the parents know their kids are missing instructional time? Well, we're not going to do that because these kids are doing what we want them to do, and that's learning how to regulate their emotions.
Whose harebrained idea was this?
Well, it's part of the SEL curriculum.
Yeah.
And see, we keep telling the kids, if you keep telling the kids, you know what, you're emotional. You need to regulate your emotions. Pretty soon they're like, oh my God, I'm emotional. I need to regulate my emotions.
Well,
and that's why they're a mess now.
Right.
That's why some kids are a mess.
And when kids are missing, and I'm not saying kids don't ever get upset at school. They do.
Sure.
But as a teacher, I work with that. And you know what I do? As soon as I can, I let the parents know we had this incident today. Right. This is what I was able to find out. Please talk to your child. If there's any more information that I need to know, please let me know.
Just like the teachers did to my parents when I got in trouble in school.
Or just that you had a bad day about something, Yeah.
Correct.
I didn't ever make the kids tell me because you know what? Maybe they didn't want to. They don't have to.
Exactly.
You have to give kids autonomy. You have to say, you don't have to tell me, but I'd like to know if there's a way that I can help. Or what can I do if you don't want to tell me that can make this situation better?
Yeah.
Those are the conversations.
Exactly.
You give the child the power. You don't say, well, clearly you need a visit to the rocket retreat to regulate your emotions. Because I will tell you.
Is the rocket retreat still there? Is it still, are they still using it? That's still something that.
This is the 3-year plan.
Oh,
3 years.
Okay. Yeah.
This is 3 years.
I can tell you, I frustrated my parents. I was one of the ultimate underachievers when it came to school. Okay. I was there for social, and that's pretty much what it was. I would have been in that rocket retreat quite often. And I tell you, it wasn't because of emotional. It was because, God, I don't want to be in this class. I want to get
laziness.
And so I can only imagine kids today.
Who would not choose that over math? Who would not choose that over, I mean, if I have a choice between sitting down and doing my home budget or going golfing, I'm going golfing. So if that was my choice every day, I'm never going to do my budget. That's ridiculous.
There's a particular school system and that thought they changed the curriculum for math, and they thought middle school kids were going to give them 2 hours of math. You know what that taught the kids? To hate math twice as much.
Right.
Exactly.
Why don't we just teach math? Teach it the way it should be taught. An extra hour is only going to make that kid hate math that much more. And guess what? The grades did not improve. The scores did not improve. Who would have saw that coming? But again, parents, they don't listen.
Right.
They don't listen to parents. It's what do you know? You guys aren't teachers. You're not educators. What do you know? Which is what I hear a lot. All these individuals. My favorite one is when individuals like you go in front of the school boards and you speak on it, and then you have people who are in the education system saying, are they teachers? Are they teachers? What does it matter? It's a parent who cares about, look, I don't care how you teach math. All right. I'm not going to go into a teacher and say, I think you're teaching math wrong. I'm not going to I might make my opinion, but I'm not going to make a big stink about it because this is the way you have to learn it. I am, however, if I have a second grader, that you're going to teach this second grader what is transgender, what is homosexuality, what is heterosexuality. Okay. I'm talking heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, whatever. Okay. My second grader doesn't need to be doing that. My second grader needs to be learning how to read, learning how to write, learning how to do math. That's what I want my second grader. So again, I appreciate everything your group is doing because it's something that we as parents who our kids are out aren't seeing this.
Right.
It's not only that, but it's going to be the future. I'm going to have grandkids.
That's where we become
I'm going to have that kind of thing going on. And so the fight you're doing now is not just for now, but it's future generations.
Well, I'm not going to get into a lot of data, but there is something I want to share with you.
Please do.
And this is obviously Carmel Clay Schools, where we've done a lot of deep diving. You have what they call a percent proficiency. And it's a combined score, and it's a district score. And so they take English language arts and math, and they combine those scores for proficiency. In 2014, our combined score was 93% in Carmel.
In what year was
2014.
that?
2014. Okay. All right. In 2021, our combined score was 56%.
Oh my God.
A drop of, Wow. So, you know what? what you're doing isn't working.
No.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not working.
Well, it's working to make them more sensitive towards these other things.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's why I'm telling parents to pull. And it's really hard for me to tell. And I will tell you, I've been offered so many jobs to come back to, teach small groups or do this or do that. I've had name your price because we do come from a wealthy county. I've had parents flat out say, you name your price. I've got a group, we'll pay it.
Yeah.
But I can't do that because what I need to do is what I'm doing now. And I can only wake you up. And if you don't want to believe what I have to tell you, that's on you. I've done my job.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about one more thing because I know we're kind of running long. But
as long as we have time, it's up to you.
Please, parents, especially in elementary and middle school, your kids that are under 13 years of age, many of the apps that they are using are not appropriate. And you have to sign off on the user agreement statements. And that's another thing they throw at you. I will tell you, these user agreement statements are 30 to 33 pages long. And they do that intentionally. They bury a lot of information.
Yep.
But first of all, I see absolutely zero reason to have technology in the elementary school. None. Absolutely none. There is, and next year they're giving it. We are going to be 1-to-1 K through 12. So every kid's going to have a Chromebook.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
Now Chromebooks have cameras.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
They are now talking about biometrics, and this is happening in Ohio, where your kid, instead of giving their lunch number, they're going to start giving their fingerprint.
Yep.
Oh
Absolutely no. We also know that in some of these apps, they're collecting data from your child. You've got a camera, and unless you say no, there are things in the apps that will be able to take their picture if they put something up, and it will, that way they can look at the biometrics of their eyes and be able to do things.
What?
If I was a parent right now, I would say my child's not going to have a Chromebook. They don't have to have one. Other thing is, parents, you need to log in to your student's Canvas page or whatever they're using, not the parent page, because they hide things from you. Your child sees things differently. Don't ever log into the parent portal. Or do it every now and then. What you need to do is be logging into your child's information. All these kids are under 18. They don't have privacy. I'm sorry.
Yep.
But they don't. And there are things that are going on that you have no idea is going on that you may want to be aware of. So, you think you may be getting exactly what your kids are getting, you're not. So every single day, I'd be logging in as your child and see what's coming out at your kids as far as the different assignments that they're given.
That's what I was going to ask, Paige. Is it an area where I remember when my daughter graduated in 2013. Son was 2007. That's how old I am. But back then they did have sort of a portal system for her, and it would give assignments and stuff like that. But I didn't know what else they might be. I never noticed anything back then, and that's could be our fault for not paying attention.
And you need to click, parents, you need to click on the assignments. You need to see what is the assigned reading, what are the questions they're being asked. That's what I'm saying, parents. If you don't want to get into the building, at least get into Canvas or whatever their platform they're using. You can do that from home. And my kid would not be using technology. If they said we're handing out Chromebooks 1-to-1, I'd say my kid's not using it. And parents,
doesn't need it then.
You need to read the user agreement statements of every app that they're using.
Wow.
Would you?
Because that's also a privacy concern.
Well, it's a privacy concern, and we know that, there was a math program that I even used when I was there. And some of their questions are, there were 10 non-binary students. Why is that part of the question?
Yeah. Jim and I were talking about what happened to a train's traveling 40 miles this way and a train's traveling 40 miles. Yeah. What happened to those questions? What does the non-binary and or have to do with anything in
and
math?
so that's why.
Oops, sorry.
That would not be part of my child's day.
And it shouldn't.
Oh no.
And what they do though is they give parents so much at once. Are you really going to, we're going to use these 17 apps. Are you going to read through? Each app has 33 pages. They know you're not going to.
Right.
Bombard them with information that's not information they're going to read. Right. I mean, that's how it is.
And see, when you guys start signing everything, because that's the way it's always been done, that's how a lot of this is getting in. And you're giving permission, and you don't even know you're doing it.
And this kind of thing comes directly from the school boards themselves, or the states, or
comes federal. From the school.
Is it? Yeah. Okay, from the school.
Yeah, like a teacher. Strictly. Like if I'm going to use an app, I should have to get parent permission. But that's why I'm saying you need to pay attention what you're signing.
Got you. So there's no regulation. The teacher, whatever the teacher wants to do. That's what you're talking about. Okay, gotcha. And see, I wanted to make sure that
there's a big platform that teachers use, and it's called Teachers Pay Teachers. And I have used stuff on there. But there's also a lot of not great stuff on there. And teachers can use that. And now they have an application with Teachers Pay Teachers where you can buy things that are, and you literally buy things that teachers have created. And you can just roll it right into your Canvas.
Wow.
So you can assign things through Canvas during the day when the kids are there, and you can also assign it at night. So, there's a whole lot of information, just like parents can't see the curriculum. There was a time parents were on curriculum adoption.
Yep.
And they took them off, and there was a little, outcry at first, and then it went away. And now parents are demanding to see the curriculum, and they're saying, no, we don't have to show it to you. Yes, you do. And they say, well, it's, we can't because it's digital, and we're not allowed to show you that.
What? Yeah.
Paige,
because it's digital.
From your standpoint, because you're in the education profession and we're not, but what percentage, and I know you don't know exact percentage, but you work in that field, how many teachers do you really feel are honestly, one, for this, or actually maybe don't even know what this is? Because everybody always comes out, you hear the story, we want to teach your child sensitivity. All right. On the level, it sounds fine, right? But then when you read into it, what they're actually doing, it's like, whoa, what does it have to? So do we have like a large number of teachers that are kind of against this, or what would your guess be?
My guess would be, I would say you've probably got 70% of your teachers that don't get it at what they're doing. And they think, that's, especially the young ones, this is what they're told to do, so they do it, and they don't know what's wrong with it. I would say you've got probably 30% who are just all in, and that's what they do. The problem is too, when you have school improvement plans, that's included, and your administration's going to be looking for that when they walk through. That's intimidating. And that's where you get teachers that are doing this because we've got some that just go along to get along, and they're just like, whatever.
Sure.
These are teachers that don't want to lose their jobs. They don't want to become a target. And so they do it, and they do it unwillingly and probably haphazardly at best.
Yeah.
They do enough to stay off the radar. And
and I think when you talk about the young teachers, some of that to me has been their own indoctrination in their liberal colleges, maybe.
Well, and that's what they're hearing in college.
Yep, that's what they're hearing in college, and they're relating that back to their teaching skills and what they should be teaching.
In fact, it's funny. I had a teacher call me last night, and we were talking, and she had graduated from Butler. And she'd taken some neuroscience class. I was like, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
That's part of elementary education. I said, tell me more about this neuroscience class. So she was telling me all about it. Well, basically, it was teaching about the brain, which that's fine, but it was all focusing on feelings and, you know, the neuroscience behind our emotions and our
Oh boy.
amygdala and our fight and flight. And when kids are in the flight mode, they can't learn. And I was just, I said, well, let me tell you something. Um, there are going to be kids that are that way, and you need to deal with them one
Always.
on one. And, you know, this is the other thing that we haven't really talked about, but we've got kids that are tearing up classrooms. And the classrooms are, the kids are removed, not the ones that are tearing it up, but the whole class and the teacher are displaced to the hallway where they're supposed to carry on instruction, which I don't know how you do that when you don't have any of your materials. And a kid's allowed to tear up a classroom. And
what?
Yep, it happens. It happened to me. And
You're kidding.
I am not kidding. I was not there. I had, and this was after school. There was a kid that got away and got into my room. Now, I had a little problem with the custodian on this because I had told her, I want my door closed. When I leave at the end of the day, I close my door and I lock it. And I don't want it left open. Number one, if kids forget homework, I don't want them coming back to get it. I will deal with the natural consequence of that. We're not coming back to get it from my room. I mean, I'm teaching 5th grade. We're not doing that.
Correct.
Anyway, she left my door open, and this child who was known around our school got into my classroom. And, you know, I really believe all things that happened are teachable moments if we allow them to be. I happened to be out to dinner with my in-laws when I got the notification, and I read it, and it was from the principal that said, you know, he'd gotten loose, and we tried to put your room back together to the best of our ability, but we really didn't know where anything went.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you may want to
a crime scene.
So you may want to come in early. Well, I go in early every day. And so I told after we left my in-laws, I told my husband what had happened. And he said, well, I'll go over with you now and we'll get it cleaned up. I said, nope, we're not doing that. And he said, are you just going to do it in the morning? I said, nope, I'm not doing that. I said, my kids are going to come in and they're going to see the consequences of someone's bad behavior.
Right.
Because their work was ripped down. Some of their stuff was destroyed. And that's not a good feeling. But it's a teachable moment.
It is.
And when my kids came in and they saw the chaos, which was my classroom, I kept a very neat classroom, very organized. And it was no longer that way. The looks on their faces, and they're all just looking around, and they're so quiet. Usually they come in, hey, what are we doing today, Mrs. Miller? And, you know, we're all talking, and how was last night? And, you know, they're telling me about their favorite. They made a TikTok video, or, you know, they're doing this, they're doing that, or they had baseball, or, you know, we talk about all that.
Yeah.
They come in and they're silent, and they're looking around. And I had a morning meeting, every meeting, just to go over, you know, if we got a compliment from the lunchroom the day before, or maybe not, and we needed to chit chat about behavior in the lunchroom or whatever, what we were going to learn today, what our big takeaways need to be, what you're going to need to do today. You know, we just kind of talked about the overall big picture. And we did that every day after announcements. But so when they got there, they signed in for lunch, and then they would just go and sit up front with me. So I'm already sitting up front. They all signed up for lunch, didn't say a word, and they just came and sat down. So announcements happened, and I told them what had happened, and didn't tell them who the child was. But things in our room were broken. And, you know, immediately they said, well, before we do anything, can we put everything back together? And I said, sure, let's do that. Let's get this room cleaned up and organized, because, I mean, and they were markers were everywhere. It was just tossed. So we probably worked for, and I had 25 kids. We probably worked for a good 30 minutes getting our room. Mm-hmm. And some of their work had been ruined. And they were like, what should we do with this? And I said, I don't know, but I know that really hurts your feelings. And they were like, it does. I worked really hard on this. Mm-hmm. And we talked about how when that happens, how do we deal with it? This is a hard thing. But you guys can do hard things. See, that's what we're taking away from them. There are going to be hard things in life. And it's going to happen.
And you need to know how to deal with it.
And it's not your fault, but you have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And so we talked about that. And they said, well, why wasn't the door locked? And I said, because someone didn't do what I asked them to do. And that's how this happened. They didn't follow the rules. And when you don't follow the rules, that allows bad stuff to happen. Right. And there are unintended consequences. And we talked about that. And I said, you all had absolutely nothing to do with it. Neither did I. But this is an unintended consequence of somebody's bad decisions.
Correct.
And they were like, why did they let them do this? Why weren't they stopped? And I said, I don't know, because that doesn't make any sense, does it? Kids know this doesn't make sense. And, when they talk about, well, we have to teach kids empathy. No, we don't. There's nobody more empathetic than children. Yeah. None.
Correct.
And they don't need empathy. They know it. They are empathetic. They are total empaths.
Naturally.
They have big feelings. And, they cheer. When somebody loses a tooth, oh, yay! If somebody hurts themselves on the playground, about 4 kids will bring him over. Oh my gosh, he fell and he hurt his knee and it's bleeding, Mrs. Miller. That's empathy. Kids are naturally that way. What we're doing is we're putting them in situations where they can't behave naturally. And that's making them uncomfortable.
Yep.
Correct.
And
you're right. And sometimes, and some, like the situation that happened with you, that was already uncomfortable naturally for them. They were confused. They were concerned. They had it all. Right. And that's how you learn. That's exactly the perfect response. Right. And that's what teaching is about, Paige. I mean, to be honest with you, that's what teaching is about. And that's what's getting lost out there. No thanks to, again, not blaming teachers, the majority of them. It's thanks to all of this stuff that they're trying to indoctrinate into the school system. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how you stop it. I had a whole bunch of stuff to go over with you. I know your answers on them. Critical race theory, parental rights bills. I know all that stuff. I was going to tell you about a nice little article that was written by a lady by the name of Olivia Little. You may or may not have seen, but she was an Indiana grad for you too, if you like that, who just wants to badmouth Moms for Liberty as a right-wing conspiracy group.
She's in our fan club.
But her name, if you want to reach out to her, she seems like a great gal. It's incredible because we know it's a nonpartisan issue. We also, I think, can probably venture a guess that there is probably a lot more people who lean a little bit more right, the parents especially, who want to get involved and who are the ones that are fighting this fight. Peacefully, by the way, Merrick Garland, in case you are listening. Anyway, anything ever happened with that, by the way? Is there any resolution to the whole Merrick Garland panorama, that whole end game, or it's just information that we need to know so we know where it's all coming from?
And that's been the most surprising thing is we have, exposed a lot of this. The schools, I thought they might let up a little bit. No, they've doubled down. They have
sounds like they are
down. And
it's crazy.
It is absolutely. And that's why, I'm also working with a group of guys that are looking into opening a classical education school. And there are 40 of those opening in Tennessee. So Tennessee, you are one lucky state. They are opening 40 classical schools next fall in the state of Tennessee.
And what does that mean exactly, classical schools, just for
it's a classical education. It's basically teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's what you and I had. It was a
Yep.
So it's exactly like it sounds, is what you're saying.
Okay. We're teaching kids to love their country. We're teaching them, civics. We're teaching them, we're just teaching them. That's what we do.
Like it was. Like it was. So how did they get the funding for this? Are these all private funded classical education schools? Okay.
Yeah, and people ask me a lot of time about vouchers, and I am wary of the vouchers just because you get the government's the one giving you the voucher.
Yeah,
of course.
And they say, well, they don't have any say. Well, you know what? Government doesn't give you anything without a say.
Yep.
They just and you can look at different.
I hear your doggy there. It sounds awesome, by the way.
It's okay.
Is it a German Shepherd?
No,
is it a German Shepherd?
I have 2 British cream retrievers that are 100 pounds each.
Wow. Yeah, they sound good. Good protection for you.
You know what? I don't have people mess with me when I have them with me.
It's just shocking, isn't it? Yeah.
I have friends that like to come up when they see me out in public with my husband having dinner. Just want to drop by, give me a fine hello. Thank you for all my hard work.
Yeah. You sit with your back to the corner when you're in restaurants, is what I'm guessing.
And what's weird to me
I don't.
Is
I know.
My worst experience with school was because my wife and I are very active in our school. Our kids did extracurricular activities. We were involved in it. So we went into honors U.S. history. My son was in the honors U.S. history class. So he was explaining to all the parents what they were going to do. And he said, I just want to let you know, I'm going to teach them global warming. It was global warming then. Okay. And I said, so I'm kind of looking at him. He goes, okay. He goes, you don't think I should do that? And I said, it depends how you do it. Are you going to show both sides of it? He goes, there are no 2 sides to it. I said, well, you're looking at 2 people right here who have a different viewpoint from what you're probably going to teach. So yes, there are. And he goes, well, no, global warming is real, and we're going to teach the kids that. And I said, okay. So my son prepared, got all the scientists that say it's not real, it's just cyclical. Here's what goes on. And so he would present that in class. And so that was the worst experience I had. I never had this talking about this stuff, talking about that stuff. So, and I was active. So it's like in my area, it's now, I don't, because my wife and I were talking, she works for the school system, and it's like, is this really going on? And we're just not seeing it. What's going on? But that was the worst part that I ever experienced. And now I see some of these other parents and I'm like, oh my God, we would have been nightmare parents for teachers if we had kids right now in elementary school. And now, not to mention, we're probably going to be nightmare grandparents.
Right.
So
I'm telling you, these grandparents, they don't mess around. I think I sent
because
the slide deck that we put out yesterday for Liberty.
Yes.
That was all the school system's information. We didn't create anything. And what surprises me, and that's what I said, I thought they might slow their roll a little bit, but they have just absolutely doubled down into this stuff. And
well, I think it helps that they have the Attorney General and people like that on their side.
Right, absolutely. They feel very empowered.
Well, folks, you heard part 3 of 4 of our interview with Paige Miller. It just continues.
Yep.
Her knowledge, the way she approaches the way she can articulate all the issues that are going on in the school. And she's fun and she's great. And she has a lot of history in the school system. She just absolutely great information.
Fastest 2-hour interview I was
Fastest
ever
2-hour interview I've ever had. Exactly.
She is phenomenal. Exactly. And guys, most of the people in their group are like her. I mean, she's probably more of a leadership role and stuff like that because, she is the director of it. But God, this group of people, and they're demonized all over the place. They're called this, called that. And really, honestly, people, they're not saying anything the left in the media is talking about them. That's being made up. All they want is and we see that this Fairfax County school system, that I was going to talk about, but we'll do it the next time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah,
It's quite all right.
Yep, I
We
forgot
have
about
more
that.
school stories to do.
We do.
And they're failing. They've been failing over the years, and
Yeah.
and so all the Moms for Liberty are doing is they're not anti-transgender, they're not anti-gay, they're not anti-cross-dressers, they're not anti-anything. What they're anti is, why are we teaching our elementary and middle school kids this when most of them don't really know how to do math, and most of them don't know English very well?
That is what they're about. And even more so, I think, or equally, they're about parental rights.
Right.
And they're about the fact that parents have a right to know what's going on inside their children's schools. We preach this. I think every show we're saying it. And I'll say it until people freaking it gets in their head and they start focusing on their own school systems in their cities, whether you have kids or not. Honestly, parents are being locked out of the school board meetings. Parents are being shunned. They're not allowed in schools. That's, to me, that's a slippery slope, man.
Yep.
That's when shit starts hitting the fan, and that's what they're about as well. So,
and I don't want to hear any educator sitting there saying, are the people in this Mom for Liberty group, are they teachers? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're teachers or not. The parent has a right to know what you're. Look, as we talked about this before, do I need to go in there and tell them, you taught my kids 2 + 2 is 4 is wrong? No. That's set up. That's the curriculum. That's set up the way it is. What I'm going to go in and tell you about is, if you want to teach my child this, you get my permission before you do it. And if I don't want my kid to be in there during that, then my kid has a right to be out of there during that time. Correct. Or however the situation's set up. But I'm sorry, I'm more concerned about making sure our kids can do math, read, write, and all that stuff. That's what I'm more concerned about.
As everybody should be, because that's how the kids are going to grow. That's how they're going to be intelligent. That's how they're going to be.
And Moms for Liberty is a fantastic organization. They're a fantastic organization. And I'm telling you, everyone sits there and says, well, it's not that easy. Yeah. Common sense is pretty easy. It's just other people are making it harder. Correct. Because they're going what the woke movement is doing, and they're believing that this is what needs to happen. The woke movement is a small majority of people that are speaking very, very loudly.
Correct.
When you get the rest of us, like you're seeing now at these Moms for Liberties or these they call, the mama bears, they're speaking loud as well. The difference is they're bringing intelligence to the game.
Correct.
And that's why the liberals can't take it, because these are intelligent people that are giving what really needs to be going on, and they don't know how to take it. So
they don't.
Anyway, great interview.
Great interview. And that's just the third part of 4. Part 4 will be next Tuesday. Again, folks, follow us on Rumble. Can't say YouTube yet. Again, you're going to, really, everybody download Rumble. Do yourself a favor. Again, it's free to do. Just download Rumble and watch us and hear us on there. Again, of course, we're going to be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Stitcher, or anywhere you hear podcasts. None of those episodes are done. So if you just want to hear it, that's fine. Right. And not look at Jim, I understand. Trust me.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
Yeah. If you want to do that, please do that. But again, like, share, comment, follow. Really share the hell out of it. People need to hear this stuff that's going on in our school systems and know what the truth is out there. And that's, and you and I are, I could tell you we're telling the truth because YouTube's removing videos. I know exactly we're telling the truth.
And if you disagree with anything we say, I mean, honestly,
don't call
disagree with anything we say.
That's not nice.
I don't care. Call me whatever you want, but don't turn us into daddy. Don't tell mommy and daddy on us.
Make a comment. Reach out to us. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. We're on every platform you can be on. Debate us. Have a comment. Just say, hey, I don't agree with you, and here's why. Maybe try an intelligent conversation. Of course, that's asking a lot from a liberal. But
I know. I don't care if they call us dickweeds. I don't care if they call us worse. I could really care less, because we think they're idiots. But if you want to discuss this stuff and you think we're wrong, show us where we're wrong. That's all we're asking. If you think we're wrong, show us where we're wrong. I mean,
and when I'm wrong, I will be the first to admit I am wrong.
We'll come back. We'll make it.
I mean, mine. I'm not that proud where I can't admit I'm wrong.
It's not bad. I mean, this is the 32nd episode, and we both only made one mistake. I mean, so that's pretty good. I mean, we're
pretty good. It's pretty good.
We're pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't care. Debate us. We'll have you on the show and debate as long as you keep it. As long as whoever's on there keeps it respectable.
Yeah, exactly.
We had disagreements with Kareem. Nobody lost temper. Nobody raised their voice. Yep. We had a very nice. Yep. That's how things should be discussed. No one's changed no one's mind.
We had potential disagreements with our interview with Stacy, and absolutely, there was no. It was great. I mean, there was no confrontations, anything like that, because you could talk, and that's what you should be able to do. But anyways, Jim, you are a dickweed, and that's okay. That's not bad. That's not a bad thing. Yeah. Folks, again, follow us on When You Can on YouTube. Again, really, these are all, if you're watching this since the gnarly days.
35 years? Yeah. I mean,
at least.
A long time. I'm kind of
at least since proud. Beverly Hills Cop 1 came out. Anyways.
Banana in the tailpipe. Sorry.
I like this.
Watch the movie.
I like to speak to Victor Maitland. Watch the movie. Folks,
herpes simplex.
I got herpes simplex X or whatever. Yeah. Jim, I got herpes. Jim, great show, as wonderful. We drug it on as long as we could drag this dead horse. So, we appreciate everybody's support. Again, the links will be up on Facebook. Again, Rumble only for the next 4 episodes. Rumble as far as viewing, but again, anywhere you hear podcast, we'll be on it. We'll make a notification on Facebook. Jim, wonderful show. All right, brother, and we'll see you. You all have a good weekend, and we'll see you next Tuesday. All right.
Goodbye.
See you. Bye.